Hello and welcome back to another video, and this is my end of the year video, basically recapping the year of 2024, both the good, the bad and the ugly, and looking forward to the new year 2025. So this is the first time I'm doing this type of video ever on this channel, so I guess we'll get shook into it. So I guess the first thing that springs to mind is coming into 2024, January, February, March. The first couple of months were wet. The first, I believe, maybe 4 or 5 months were quite wet, especially then for the likes of maybe April and May. They were probably wetter than usual. More on the terms and the lines of the fields, the grounds, the conditions of the fields were a lot more wetter and a lot more softer than they were in previous years that I can remember. So that basically delayed field work as well. Yeah, around the end, the last maybe week or two of April, the first week or two of May is when we start going into rolling. So we'll be using our 135 and our roller, and we'd be rolling a lot of fields, grazing fields, our silage fields, just to level them off, especially our silage fields, because we'd like to, if we let cattle in onto the aftergrass, any of their hoof marks, if there's any stones sticking up, we like to go over that with the roller and sort of level it off a small bit, so that when our contractor comes in with mowers and balers and whatnot, it doesn't cause any damage to his machines. And then obviously for grazing fields, just level them out. From when we go driving down topping or whatever, it's less bumpy and it'll cause no damage to our own machines as well. So it was an unusual sort of year that way. We did get rolling in the month of May, I believe. I can't really remember back that far, but you know, the grounds were, we could go in with our 135, our twin wheels, our roller. It was no bother. We might have been leaving minor grooves, but then the roller being trailed behind us would have sorted that out for us. But we got in, we got it rolled. It's just the first couple of months of 2024 were just wet, so hopefully, fingers crossed, the first couple of months of 2025 will be hopefully better than the first couple of months of 2024. The next thing is we had a very unusual calving season this year. For any regular viewers, you will know this. For any new viewers, we like our cows to be calving on the months of November, December, January, February, March and April at the latest. That's when they're inside in the house, and then maybe come sometime in May we let them out into the fields when the weather is good and the ground conditions are good. But we had a very choppy calving season this year. We had calves spaced out throughout the year, which is just, for some farmers that's alright. Some farmers have cows calving in summertime, so they have to bring them in, or they might calve outside, but we don't, that's not what we do on our farm. And for the longest time, for a couple of years back, we did have it somewhat like it was this year, where they were calving in nearly every different seasons of the year. But we kind of got into a groove and we got them calving in of the months I mentioned there earlier. But we kind of lost track of that as well, because we found it hard to get cows and heifers, spot them bulling and stuff. But we found somewhat a solution to that, which you'll hear later on in the video. But we just found we're getting it, finding it hard to spot them coming a bulling. And when we did get them a bulling or in heat and we bulled them, AI man, I don't know, some of them repeats, and you know, it's an on and off, it's a hit and miss with farming, getting cows and calf and AIing and all that. So I think our first calf was the first week of February, which is a normal time for us. But usually February time would be the last stretch of cows would be calving. Our first cow was calving in February. The second one was the first week of May, which we don't tend to have. We tend to have all our cows calved by April time and have them out by the middle of May to the end of May, when the calves are sort of strong enough and all that. But yeah, having our second calf in May was a bit unusual for us anyways. For different farmers it's a different story. Then our third calf there was a space between, well, you could obviously tell there was a space between our first calf in February and our second calf in May. And then there was a good space then between our second calf and third calf, which was, the third calf I think was the first week of August. So there was a couple of months there. What was it? May, June, July, about 2-3 months there of a space. We don't usually have cows calving in the month of August. We used to many moons ago, but you know, it was just a funny calving season for us this year. So hopefully next year, come 2025, it might be slightly better. We'll be trying to bring it back onto track to our normal usual months. And then our fourth calf was the end of August, so there was only 2 weeks of a difference there. Our fifth calf was also the end of August, so obviously that's not bad. We had two of them calving in and around the same time. And then another one, only 6 calves. 6 cows were in calf, so we only had 6 calves. Usually now, even though we did lower down our stocking rate, we lowered down how much cattle and cows and heifers and all that we have. Usually now we'd be aiming to have maybe 8 or 10 cows in calf. So that was also a poor calving rate for us as well, only having 6 cows in calf and 6 of them calving. But they all calved safe and sound. Every calf is still with us, kicking alive and healthy. So, you know, that's the main thing. I also attended my first ever time to the Mayo County Plowing Championships. I have previously gone several times to the National Plowing Championships, but never to the Mayo County or just County Plowing Championships. So I knew straight away that the Mayo County Plowing Championships, or just the County Plowing Championships, would be considerably a lot smaller than the National Plowing Championships. But nonetheless, everything was sort of more closer together. Obviously for the National Plowing, it's just, you might be in 2 or 3 different fields spanned across 500, 600, 700 acres, and it's just a rake of stalls, every different ploughing, and the ploughings for the different day, because obviously the Ploughing Championships is on for 3 days, the county one was only on for the 1 day. For the different ploughing days in the National Ploughing Championships, they're in different sections. You know, one could be, say the Tuesday's ploughing section would be this side, the next days could be in the completely opposite direction. And for the different, you know, you have your 2-furrow, your horse ploughing and all that, in the National Ploughing Championships could be in different locations within the proximity. But in the County Ploughing Championship, especially the Mayo County Ploughing Championship, they were all together. You had maybe like a ploughing section here and another ploughing section here, and then maybe another ploughing section here. So you had 3 sort of patches or docks of land dedicated to ploughing. And you had your 2-furrow ploughs, you had your vintage ploughing, you had your horse ploughing, 3-furrow ploughs, every sort of ploughing there, including the first time ever that I seen was ploughing done by hand, like a little shovel or spade type thing, but it was different. Done by hand, like a spade, but you dug into the ground, you dug like your little bit of sod, and then you dug under it and flipped it over. It wasn't an actual spade or anything, it was a special dedicated plough spade or something. But I did hear about that before, but never witnessed it. So that was the first time me witnessing that as well, which was hard work. It was very hard work, that. Also, the stalls compared to the National Plowing Championships in the Mayo County one, a lot smaller. There wasn't hundreds or thousands of stalls there for you to buy stuff. There was actually very little to no stalls there. McHale had their own little section there, that all their farm machinery like balers and windrowers and tedders and their Massey Ferguson tractor selections and all that. They had a little section there. There was obviously food vans there, food trucks, so you can get your burgers and chips and whatnot. But yeah, it's in a way it was a more nicer environment than the National Plowing Championships, because it was a lot smaller. Everything was in a smaller proximity area, and you weren't sort of running and racing. Obviously, for the National Plowing Championship, a lot bigger and spanned out between 3 days, which you'd nearly spend 3 days in it between watching all the ploughing and walking around the stalls. But it was sort of a nice environment just to go into a smaller ploughing event area, and you can just whiz around, look at the stalls, and then go and have a look at the ploughing, which I spent the whole day watching the ploughing, and obviously I made a video as well of it. So basically watched the ploughing from start to finish, which is something I've never done, something I was only able to do in the National Plowing Championship, because as I mentioned, it's a vast area, that very vast. It'd be hard to go around to every ploughing class in the national one than compared to the county ploughing. But yeah, the Mayo County ploughing, really enjoyable, and I would recommend. So, as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, we were, during the calving section of the video, we were finding it hard to get spotting calves in heat and getting them bulling and getting them bulled and all that. So this year, we bought a teaser bull, which obviously there's a review video out about that and how we found them and all that and whatnot. But teaser bull, a teaser bull. We bought him because in writing, he's supposed to do exactly what a bull would do, but he doesn't actually bull them. You have a chin ball on them, and he marks them, and then once you see the mark on them, you bring them in, you get them AI'd, and then you let them out again, or whatnot. So in writing, we thought it would have been a very good idea. We thought it would be very successful. We'd be more successful in getting cows bulled and spotted than we did in the year of 2023. But if you watched the teaser bull video, the review video, it didn't go according to plan for us. But yeah, we got a teaser bull, and eventually we'll be selling them, hopefully sometime in the new year when the marts reopen again in 2025. We'll be saying goodbye to our old chap. But yeah, bought a teaser bull, first time, Frisian, a Holstein Frisian breed, and a first time buying a teaser bull. So, and you know, it's not, a teaser bull is good obviously to spot, because he can spot silent heats with his chin ball. He can mark them, then we can see the mark on them. We don't have to be constantly watching them throughout the day to see which ones are bulling and which ones aren't, because obviously you're busy with other stuff on the farm. So the teaser bull was handy in that way, and also he's not an actual bull, so you kind of actually bull them or get them in calf. So you can bring them in, get them AI'd, but you can choose then what type of breed and what type of bull you want to put into them, obviously, because that's what AI is. If you had an actual bull, you just have to settle for what breed that bull is. Whether you own a bull or you hired a bull or rented a bull, whatever, we don't know. But yeah, obviously easier to spot heifers a bulling, and then when it comes to AI and them putting straws in them and whatnot, you can choose what breed and all that sort of bull with the catalogue, which is an upside. But yeah, he didn't work according to plan for us anyways. So once he's gone, you never know what's going to happen in 2025. We might buy another teaser bull in, or we might buy a bull, depending, or we might just maybe hire a bull or rent a bull off a farmer, or that farmer might have a bull in the field, so we could bring a couple of cows or heifers to that farmer's field where the bull is in and get them bulls that way with an actual bull. Or we can bring a bull to our yard, hire them or rent them and get them that way. But yeah, just how we don't know what's going to happen, so 2025 will bring answers to our questions in that case. So this year, 2024, was my second year of raking. So our old contractor bought a rake or a windrower last year, 2023. So I spent maybe half of last year doing a bit of raking. I'm the raker man, and the brother is the baler, and then our old contractor is basically the stacker. He stacks the bales and whatnot. So yeah, second year and a full proper year this year at raking, which wasn't too bad at all. Some people might find it boring after a while. I don't mind it. You know, I enjoy driving tractors. I enjoy cattle. I enjoy tractor work. I enjoy field work. I enjoy cattle work. I just enjoy farming in general, which is why I'm a farmer. But yeah, and this year, for the first time ever, and some people might say, "Oh, that's not an accomplishment to me," but to me personally, I raked about 50 to 60 acres in one day with an international 584 and a rake. Which sounds ridiculous, because I didn't have the in 2023 raking. I had the Massey Ferguson 398, but that was given PTO problems. It needed a whole new PTO kit, which it now has. But for this year's silage, 2024, I had to use a two-wheel drive International 584, which obviously size-wise and power-wise was, you know, the physical size of it compared to a 398 is smaller, and horsepower-wise compared to a 398 is also smaller. You know, you needed more revs on it to spin around the rake, and you needed more revs to lift up the rake and fold it compared to what the 398 would. Because lifting the rake, a very slow process with the 584, but in the 398 it's like a breeze. It goes up and down. But yeah, but I didn't mind driving the 584. Again, tractor work, field work, I enjoy it no matter what I'm driving, as long as it works and all that. But this year, a full year of raking in a two-wheel drive tractor, which it wasn't too bad. The 584 raking actually surprised me. I was surprised on how well it done for the size of the horsepower size of the tractor compared to what I was driving the first year, which was the 398. But it done pretty good, and I was very pleased with it. It surprised me as well, so you know, I'm happy out with it. But probably for silage 2025, we might be back with the dream team, the 398 and the rake, and yours truly. But yeah, we'll see. The only thing is that when I was doing the old contractor's silage, raking it, I could then use the 584 and the rake the field, pack up that tractor and stuff, hop into the 398, because it had PTO problems at that time. It had the bale handler on, so I could then help him draw in bales. If I have the 398 raking next year, doing our old contractor silage, unless we put a bale handler on the 584, if it's able for it, you know, we'll see. But I don't know what the situation is going to be. We have our own international as well, which in 2023, that's what we were doing. I was raking with the 398 for our old contractor, and then when I finished raking, I took our own international 674 and helped them draw in whatever bales needed drawn in. But we'll see what happens in 2025. whether or not our silage situation will get more quieter or more busier, or be more or less the same as it was this year. But yeah, we'll see what happens for silage 2025. We also managed to bale hay for our old contractor, which he baled half of that field in silage and he left half of it then for hay. And the first couple of days and maybe the first week, it was lying on the ground for quite a lot of time. But myself, I thought you might as well just bale it up and get silage or haylage or get whatever out of it, because it's just lying on the ground, rotting away. He's not going to get the right weather to wilt that down to hay. So it was lying on the ground for a while. He was adamant to get hay, heads thrown. But we're all sort of heads thrown in our own ways as well, I guess. But he wanted haylage anyways, or hay, and it was on the ground for, I think it was on the ground for nearly 2 weeks. I can't remember, but it was on the ground for quite a long time. He just wasn't getting the adequate weather for it. He wasn't getting enough sun beaming down on it. He wasn't getting the temperatures, and he was also getting an odd rain shower here and there, which was wetting the grass and making it go backwards in the wilting process. But eventually he did get hay, and it was actual hay. When you felt it, it was dry, it was crispy, it was hay. So I don't know what the hay is going to be like, but it was on the ground for a while, as I mentioned. I don't know what it's going to be like, but look, if animals eat it, and if there's very little waste, then I guess it was good hay in that case. And going back to the raking situation for all the second cuts, and later on in the year, maybe in the last maybe 2 weeks the last 2 weeks of July, and then going into the month of maybe August and maybe the month of September, just the months that you'd be doing second cuts in. Depending on how early or how late you got your first cut, it depends on when you do your second cut, of course. But the second cuts for me personally in the 584 wasn't the best. Obviously, the first couple of months of the year was wet, and coming into the second cut silage around the August, September time, the fields were also getting a bit wet again. But obviously the brother and the baler, he has a Case Maxim 5130. So he was sort of okay in that case. He had big chunky tyres front and back, and he had 4-wheel drive. I had narrow tyres front and back in a 2-wheel drive tractor, raking. I think I got stuck maybe twice or 3 times during the amount of second cuts there was. But it is what it is. The second cuts, the first cuts, plain sailing, easy, got through first cuts alright, not a bother. Just the second cuts, the ground conditions weren't suited for the tractor that I was driving. But we got through it anyways. Silage 2024 over and out, and we got through it alright, so that's the main thing. And this year's slurry for us was a bit unusual, I guess. This year has been a bit unusual in a lot of different ways. But this year we put slurry out with 3 different slurry tankers. We started just putting slurry out with our own International 6M4 and our own 800-gallon slurry tanker, which is quite small with today's standards. But yeah, we put slurry out with that at first just to lower it down underneath the slats. It wasn't overflowing, but it was sort of more or less full, and if more water got into it, it would have overflown it. But also we wanted to take a couple of tanks out as much as possible that we could take out and spread to make room for agitating, because obviously when you put the agitator in, the slurry would rise a small bit, and we also wanted to add water into it as well while agitating to soften it up for the actual slurry spreading section. So that's why we used our own little 674 and 800 gallon slurry tanker. We took out, I don't know how many loads, but we took out a good few loads, got it down a couple of foot. I think it was maybe 2 foot we got it down, or we got it down enough to get the agitator in and put water into it and get it mixed and ready for the actual slurry session. And then we got our old contractor's Maxim, the 5130, and we got the farmer that I done the 60 acres raking for. It was all his silage. He has a big 1900 gallon major slurry tanker that we also used last year for our slurry as well, borrowing. But we borrowed it again this year, and we put out, I think, obviously we have two. We have one side of the shredded shed and the other side of the shredded shed, and you have your different points there as well. So we got one side of the shredded house sucked out, even though that was the side, well, 2 sides have to been sucked out to get water into it, but we got one side fully emptied with the 1900 gallon slurry tanker, but then that farmer was looking for it back, and we could only do it during evening times, when we had a bit of helping hand. Obviously I was more or less, most of the times, 9 times out of 10 on the farmyard working throughout that, but you needed someone to put you out on the road. It's the field that we were putting the slurry out, it's a very blind spot going out onto the road, so we needed a man there. There was basically the 3 of us. There was the father, the brother and myself. There was 2 of us one of us was spreading the slurry and driving the tractor, that was the brother. I was also helping him put on the pipe and all that sort of stuff, and then the father was putting him out onto the road over at the field, because we live on a main road, a very busy road. So yeah, there was 3 of us at it, and we got one side done in the evening, but we had no slurry tanker then. So then we borrowed a 2,000 gallon Connor slurry tanker and got the other section, the other side of the slurry, the shredded shed, the slurry out. But yeah, we just 3 different slurry tankers. We used our own to get the 2 slurry pits, to get enough slurry out of it to get agitated and water into it. We used a 1900 gallon tanker and emptied one side of the shredded shed, and then we used a 2000 gallon slurry tanker to empty the other side of the shed. So yeah, 3 different slurry tankers to do our slurry this year, which that was our year, an eventful, unusual year, 2024. So I guess all I have to say is goodbye 2024 and bring on 2025. So I want to thank you very much for watching, for all those who've watched my videos, subscribed to the channel and just supported me in whatever way this year, 2024. Thank you very much. Very, very appreciated. And hopefully come 2025, the new year, we can grow our channel even more. But yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out my merch, the link to that will be down in the description. And I'll see you in 2025 hopefully. Take care.